it was the easiest job I've ever gotten, and then got to set, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but in a beautiful way. Like, friendships were made. You have to work really hard to make this type of show, physically, emotionally, mentally. It's a lot to do because it is such a success. And
Hi guys, I'm Jonatan Blomberg, writing for MovieZine in Sweden.
Nice to
hey,
meet you.
Hello again.
Det är bra. We could do this in Swedish and confuse the rest.
We could, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I've obviously watched the entire second season already, and I'm loving it. It's really good, and I like the first season as well. But my first question I want to address to you, Maria. Since you were on the first season as well, and you're apart from Alan, obviously, the one that the viewers will recognize from the first season that also appears in this new one. So I was wondering, when did you know that you would be a part of the second season? Because the success of the first season was quite instant. So I don't know how far along you were with the second season when the first season hit.
I knew that quite early on. I'm trying to actually remember because it's been a while now because the gap was so big. When we announced which book we were going to do, I knew already that I was going to be in the second season. And of course, because it is Bad Luck and Trouble that we're doing, which is of course the one that dives a lot deeper into the relationship between Reacher and Neely, and she's, a big part of that. I was excited, and I think it's great to see their relationship, go a little bit deeper, see, why they are such good friends and what makes them work so well together. So yeah, I think I knew quite early on, but we're coming out way later than intended, of course, due to the business being crazy this year. So it's always a surprise with Reacher. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So Shaun and Serlinda, you were able to see the first season. I don't know if you had seen it when you actually went to audition for the second season, but I'm guessing you all saw it when you had the role in your hands. What was it? What you expected it to be when you actually stepped on set after having seen what they did on the first one?
right. I mean, what was interesting was that Willa, who's in the first season, is a dear, dear friend of mine. And I actually went to the premiere of season 1. Maria and I met briefly. Like, I was there to support Willa in the show. It was beautiful. There was like crystal chandeliers everywhere. It was very it was very done. It was like on the top of the Grove. Like, it was gorgeous. And I was like, wow, this show is legit. This is awesome. And it's my old showrunner, Nick Santora, that I love to pieces. And so I watched the first 2 episodes at the premiere, and you do that as a friend, like as a favor to your friends who are other actors. You're like, yeah, I'll totally come watch your show. And I left and I was like, I have to watch this show. I was like, this is great. And so I binge watched it and loved everybody in it. And my old co-star Malcolm Goodwin's in it. And I was like, this is a great group of humans. And then ended up talking to Nick, and I was like, I auditioned, and he was like, no. He's like, we're going to do this, and had a chemistry read with Alan. I was in Portugal at the time, and he was somewhere across the world, and everything it was the easiest job I've ever gotten, and then got to set, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but in a beautiful way. Like, friendships were made. You have to work really hard to make this type of show, physically, emotionally, mentally. It's a lot to do because it is such a success. And for Shaun and I coming in the second season, like, we can't let them down. They've already built something that is huge, and so you have to really step up and make sure that you're doing your job. And we had a lot of fun doing it.
I don't even know how to follow that up. I watched the first season before I had even auditioned for the show, and I'd become a fan of it, and then got the opportunity to audition for it, and then spent far too much time on that thing. Fortunately, it paid off, and my wife is very patient. And then coming on to set and doing this thing was one of the most difficult, but simultaneously enjoyable. Like, whenever you have something that is switching day to night, and then you're in the freezing temperatures, sometimes that can be really grueling and draining. And somehow it kind of wasn't, even though it kind of was. Right? Does that make sense?
We made up time by you just losing to me in poker, so
Yeah,
it was
that's
great.
right. So we didn't have any crystal chandeliers on set, unfortunately.
Crystal balls.
Yeah. But it was a fantastic opportunity and so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for taking your time to speak with me, and best of luck with the premiere of the second season. I'm sure it will go just as great as the first one did.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Legendary actor of all time, the last film star. Like I would never tire of being compared to somebody of his stature. But
Hi, I'm Jonatan Blomberg, writing for MovieZine in Sweden.
how you doing? Nice to love your posters.
Thank you. It's nice to speak with you too. I've obviously watched the entire second season now, and I'm loving it. I think I love it even more than the first, actually,
Oh, good,
and
good. That's good to
that's
hear.
good praise because I like the first season.
Yeah.
And we spoke briefly back then, and I brought up that you were actually the lead on a show called Blood Drive,
Oh
um,
yeah. Yeah.
way back, and I was wondering now because you said that you kind of went full on that show, and you regretted how that ended up. Now, when you've done 2 seasons of this, how do the experiences compare? Being the lead of a show, and now a really popular one as well.
Yeah, the way that I treat my job is no different. I mean, I really work hard to lead a set well, to inspire people, to bring the best out of people and challenge their creativity, whatever department they're in. I was doing the same thing on Blood Drive. We're just talking about a show with a different budget and a different audience, but as far as somebody trying to lead a team, I mean, the approach is the same, and I treat Reacher no different. I work really hard to try to inspire everybody that I work with, boots on the ground, to just always find ways to come up with something better. Luckily, we just have a show that seems like it's going to keep running for a while, and I think you can never predict when that's going to happen. I think there's a lot of luck involved.
Yeah. But now after the success of the first season, I was wondering kind of when did it hit you that well, I guess this one took off because it did quite quickly, if I remember it correctly. But
Yeah.
when did you realize that you had like something good that could last for a while this time?
I mean, within like 48 hours of it being out. I mean, it was like, I thought for sure we were going to have to like build an audience for a few years. Like there's a lot of times I hear about shows that have been out, and I hear about it so often that by like season 3, I'm like, I really should watch that show. And so I just sort of
Yeah.
expected that that's what it was going to be with us, and that it's kind of like that for everybody. But people found the show right away and seemed to really like it. And nobody can plan for that. I mean, everybody just has to hope for the best. And
Yeah.
I knew right away. And I started to get offers like I've never received, by the time the office is open on Monday, I mean, I had like all the offers pouring in. So I knew that something was different.
That sounds really good, great to hear. And my final question: how tired are you of being compared to Tom Cruise and his Jack Reacher now? Because I kind of feel like
Never being compared
that's a
to
lot
the
of.
most legendary actor of all time, the last film star. Like I would never tire of being compared to somebody of his stature. I mean, look, he did his thing, and he brought a lot of eyes to this project that wouldn't be here otherwise. I think there's some great IP. The books are great. A lot of people have read them and enjoy the show because of them. But I think a lot of people enjoy the show because he made them aware of it. So just a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, and I imagine that he would like your portrayal as well. I don't think that he watches TV. He doesn't feel like that kind of guy. But if he did, I kind of think that
Yeah, he probably has a
since you got
brain,
the
like an
essence,
implant in his brain, and he just watches every film he feels like watching in his head.
I'm sure
He's
he
probably
does.
got a Neuralink implant. It's Tom we're talking about, guys.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, thanks a lot for taking the time to speak with
Thanks.
me
Yeah,
again,
thanks for
and
the
best of
time.
luck with the premiere of this season as well.
Thanks. Tom Cruise joke. Bye.